Storytime with Andy Hillenburg. Welcome to Season 3 of Storytime with Andy. This year, not only are we including questions from my team, we are also including questions from you, the fans. Andy, are you ready to begin?
Ready. Season 3. We're re-signed and not canceled.
Let's get on with it. John Clagett told me to ask you about bungee jumping. Can you tell me what that is all about?
Oh my. When bungee jumping first became popular, it was all John would talk about. And we're in Florida with a mutual and close friend of ours, Bob Fritch. And he's like, I'm going to do this bungee jump. And Bob and I, of course, are like, yeah, right. And Bob's like, all right, we're going to take you to go do this bungee jump. So we were in Daytona and drove over to Orlando because they had one hanging over the side of the highway or whatever it was that you could see, and everybody knew it. And this was just when it was getting popular. And so John was Mr. Chatterbox on the way there. And then when this thing got into view, all of a sudden he got really quiet. And of course, Bob and I are laughing. And we pull up into the parking lot, and he sees how tall it is and sees these people going over on this giant rubber band. And he's like, I'm not doing this. And you know, of course, Bob and I were not going to miss an opportunity. Like, oh, you big chicken, you made us drive over here an hour one way, an hour back. What the heck? You wasted 3 hours of our life. And we're really giving him the business. And John's like, will you do it? And this was right after I had moved to North Carolina. And I'm like, I can't afford that. And John's like, I'll pay for it. I'm like, well, okay. What was I going to say then? So they put me up there, and I'm in the cage going up, and I can hear John and Bob laughing hysterically, and we're getting higher and higher. And I'm not really, I don't want to say I'm scared of heights, but I mean, like, who invented something like that? That's silly. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we get up to the top. And I look over, and you can't see the pad that you would land on if the rubber band breaks because it's too far over without looking. So we couldn't see that. I hear those guys, can't see them, but I can hear them hollering down there. And they're making a spectacle of it. There's 1,000 people there, and the only 3 that you hear are us 3. And anyway, the guy. I'm like, nah, take me down. I'm not going to do this. Because, I mean, heck, I didn't want to injure myself for a race car. Plus, I was just being a smart aleck to John, ribbing him for not doing it. And I'm like, get me out of here. I'm not doing it. And the guy's like, well, come over here and I'll push you off. And I said, you put a finger on me and we're going to fight. and then he's like, okay. And I was serious. and then he's like, well, you don't get your money back. And I'm like, you don't understand. I'll pay you extra if you take me back down. So they took me back down, and I didn't do it. And of course, by then, the tables have turned to myself and Bob laughing at John. John and Bob were laughing at me. And then, without missing a cue, we get in the car, shut the door, and Bob says, let's go get something to eat. I said, or Bob says, where do you want to go eat? And I said, let's go grab some chicken. And John, without missing a beat, he could have been a comedian. He's like, no thanks, I already paid for my chicken tonight. And that was the story of the bungee jump.
Follow-up question for the audience. Who is John Clagett, and how well do you know him? And things you can say on camera anyway.
John actually worked here at the driving school when I came. He was one of the first people that I met, and actually I told you I was sleeping in my truck, and then I moved over to the floor at Schrader's shop after I ran into him, and then stayed there for a month or two, and then John's like, hey, I got a spare room after we became friends. And I was a roomie with John for about 6 months, and nobody really makes me laugh any harder than John. We've had a lot of good laughs and a lot of good memories over the years, and from schools to movies. John actually spotted for my first 2 cup races as well. The other day, he actually gave me the pit pass from our Atlanta Cup race that I had signed for him and given him. I guess he's cleaning out all of his stuff, but he gave me the pit pass for my second Cup race 34 years ago. So that was pretty neat.
All right, these are our rapid fire questions.
Rapid fire?
All right. Well, we're just going to jump right into it. Buc-ee's or Love's?
Oh, Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's pulled pork or my mom's?
Oh, your mom's, for sure. Yeah. We want more. Zachary, thank you for including me on story time with Zachary. It's really hard to make it out there in the sport of racing this day and age, and it's getting harder because you have to, continually find sponsorship, put forth the effort behind the wheel and outside the car, and everybody needs to come up with their own little story or agenda to be different, and so you really set yourself apart here, and it's been a lot of fun for me, and I hope we have a season 4 and we don't get canceled after 3, so everybody get out there and support Zachary Tinkle at your racetracks.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in to Season 3 of Storytime with Andy.
You gotta go over your shoulder like Letterman. Go over your shoulder this way, Zachary. That's the way Letterman would do it.